Hello everyone, you're watching Altec2K. This is my guide to Act 9. In this guide I'm going to show you all the areas, the order in which I run it, all the boss fights, and any explanation that's needed along the way. So you start Act 9 in the Blood Aqueduct just before the town, and the idea is to get through here as quickly as possible, killing the blues of course. Blood Aqueduct is really easy. Now some people do farm this area for tabula rasas, it's not something I've ever done. But that is an opportunity that you can take if you want a 6-link before you start mapping. At the end of here you'll get to the town, and unlike Act 4 there's nothing really to do in this town, so just run straight through. And you exit where you exit Act 4. Now instead of the ascent you have the descent. And in here we run upwards like we do in Act 4. In fact this is pretty much a mirror of Act 4 up until we get past the bridge, which you can see is broken here. Now just continue running to the right until you find this thing on the top of the cliff, and we're down to the next level. Now there are 3 levels like this. In general, head straight to the right of the arena to see if there is an exit there. If there isn't, then it will be bottom left in this area. So this should be our last one before we reach the Vastiri Desert. And there we go. In the Vastiri Desert there is a waypoint. There is also a quest and an exit. The waypoint is normally top right. The quest is the harder thing to find because it can be in like 3 different locations. And we've been quite lucky to find it really early here. Click on the little marker and then just kill everything that spawns. There's really nothing to discuss here. It's that simple to do this. And we get the Stormblade. Now continue up and right, and there's the waypoint. Now the exit is always top left. The Foothills. In the Foothills run straight upwards, and once we get to the top of the upwards bit, you'll get a waypoint. Then what we're going to do is head left, but try and sweep the whole arena as you head left, because there is Boulder back in here, and we need to kill him for a quest marker, and he's here. He's not necessarily there, he could be anywhere sort of from that waypoint to the door. And the door is on the left. And here's the exit to the tunnel. Now the exit to the tunnel is always sort of up from where you enter, so if you enter at the bottom right, which you do, then you'll exit from the top left. Now in here there is a trial of Asendancy, protected by a load of spinny blade traps. It's one of the easier ones, and if we pass close by it, I'll show you what it looks like. But it's your usual green marker if we don't pass by it. There is a waypoint in here, about halfway up. Well, maybe slightly towards the end rather than halfway up. And here we go, there's the exit to the Quarry. In the Quarry, we're going to run straight upwards to look for Sin. He's always in the same spot, which is in the middle of the arena. This is sort of a fixed zone. Grab the waypoint, and then we head right. Now in here there are 2 sort of side quests. And where the second one is dependent on what is the first one to the right. Now in this one it's the Refinery, so the other quest will be on the left-hand side of the arena. If this was the other quest, then the other quest would be to the top of the arena. Now the boss in here is particularly nasty. So you sort of run upwards in here and then run to the right, and there should be an exit somewhere in here. And then here is the boss fight. It's pretty much always here. This boss has an earthquake attack, which is that thing there. It's slightly delayed from when he hits the ground. Now that will kill you if you stay in the area. Throughout the fight there'll be these lightning things shooting in. These don't actually just shock you, but they do damage as well. That little attack he just did was sort of a lightning attack. And that hurts as well, so he really is nasty. He's a master of area of effect attacks, and he's dead. And then we grab the Tratham powder. And log. Logging back into town now, we go... Let's hand in our quests to Pataros and Flanger, and then talk to Sin, and then go back.
Well, it took some time.
You'll need this to continue later on. Go to the waypoint, and then jump straight back to the Quarry. And now we're going for the second quest, which will be on the left, because the factory was on the right. And here we are. In here, you go over here. Now, there are two sort of main bosses in this area. One of them, it does nothing at all, and the other one is this thing, which really does a lot of damage and goes stealthy, Predator style. That's the other one. Doesn't do an awful lot of anything. Now, these sort of tornadoes do a lot of damage, so try and stay away from them. And eventually, he'll die. I said eventually. There we go, he's down. Grab the feather. And if we talk to Sin here, we'll get Soul of Garukhan, which gives us 6% increased movement speed if you haven't been hit recently once it's upgraded. It's definitely worth upgrading this one. And at this point we log. Now that we log back in, go and talk to Irasha, and she will give us a book for the feather. Now we're going to jump back to the Foothills, and then we're going to head up this little thing into the Boiling Lake. In here you want to head generally top right, and eventually we'll sort of reach the raised area on the top right. Then you're looking for a bit that looks slightly volcanic. Here. And then you get this boss. This boss is quite nasty. He fires fire at you. And then he'll turn around after the fire and do sort of Medusa thing on you, which if you're in front of him will stop you moving. And at that point, you really are kind of open to death, which you should avoid. And he's down. Once you kill him, all these stone people will open up. You don't need to kill them. You can just log here. Talk to Sin. And then head back to the waypoint. And then in here, we're going back to the Vastiri Desert. And head upwards. The exit is normally pretty close to the arena. Here. And it's currently blocked, but the blue flask we got as a quest reward actually gets rid of the sand and lets us walk through. Now in here, there's two possible locations. One is top right and one is bottom right. I always tend to try top right first. And we're looking for the sand pit. This is where you fight the scorpion. This boss is really, really annoying. Ow, don't stand in that slam because he will kill you. Eventually, you'll kill him and he'll go up here. And he stays underground here for a while. Whenever he comes out of the ground, just sort of run up to his tail. And he'll go back underground again and then rinse and repeat. And we basically just follow him down this corridor. Now bear in mind, once he lands, if you're not really close to him, he'll fire at you. Well, he fires anyway, but normally you're behind him by that point. And then he goes down this little passageway, which is heading towards the final boss room. In the Swallowing Sands, named because this is mostly quicksand, you'll fight him again. The idea is to kill him as quickly as possible, as usual. Now he goes into this jumpy phase. When he goes into the jump phase, keep moving because he'll land on your head otherwise. Once he finishes that phase, he goes into the centre of the arena and just sort of spams his weapons, so just keep running around him. Once he's finished that, he'll come out over ground, and at this point, he goes into his jumpy phase again. So keep moving. Now you'll notice that whenever you stand over these things, you'll start to slow down because you start sinking into the sand. This isn't really a problem, providing you can stay out of his way. Talking to Sin here will give you Soul of Shakari, which is the chaos damage reduction. We can log here, talk to Irasha again, and we'll get a skill book. Back to the waypoint, and then we go back to the quarry. As you can see, this act is pretty quick. This is the longest part of the act, I think. Now we're in the belly of the beast again. You've just got to find the entrance that's the sort of broken sphincter into the next area. Now, as usual, I'll be terrible finding my way through here and go the wrong way every time. And it will literally be the last place I look. And eventually we'll get to a door... No, we won't. There we go, doorway. In the rotting core now. This one's fairly simple. Now this sort of follows the same sort of route that you'd go to get to Malachi. And then we go into the Black Core. Talk to Sin. He'll try and open this, but instead get hit back, and then these 3 doors will open to the 3 bosses. Now to get to each boss there is a long corridor you've got to run through with minions in them. This is Shavronne's. This one isn't a major problem, so just run through killing everything in sight. And eventually we'll get to Shavronne's arena. In here do any setup for the fight, and then dodge that ball and run around her. Now she will jump around as you start to lower her health. Where's she gone? She's still back there. Now those balls she fires out really do hurt, so do try and avoid them. The little ones aren't as bad as the big one. She's down. Portal opens. And then we go round here doing each of these. Now this one for Maligaro is really annoying. There's these spinny blades that do a lot of damage. They do both physical and chaos. And they do quite a lot of damage. And then every so often you'll get sort of a Maligaro ghost jump in and hit you. In here you don't want to stand still for too long. Eventually you get to the exit. Maligaro's arena is pretty much the same as it was last time, except once he gets low on health, he'll split into like 4 or 5 pieces. Or like 4 or 5 decoys. And here's his decoys. We've got to kill all those to get back to the original to kill him.
I must have time to gather my will.
And he's down. The portal opens. And then we've got Doedre. Now in this one, Doedre has lost quite a bit of weight and he's really thin. Although she turns back into her old self after taking so much damage. Now the important thing to note in here is these totems. They cast a circle on the ground which gives you a curse. The red one is vulnerability, which causes bleeding. The purple one is temporal chains, and green is enfeeble. Temporal chains slows you, which is horrible, by lowering your action speed, and enfeeble lowers your damage. Now this one's a little bit different. Instead of just hiding around with rocks all the time, these rocks will come out of the ground. You want to try and keep them intact. And she's down. Before we got to the interesting bit, she'll sort of go into the centre of the arena and start to fire off an area of effect. You must stand behind the stones that keep raising out of the ground to stay alive. So don't destroy them all or you'll end up dying. Back to the Black Core now, talk to Sin, and he'll open the final fight of Act 9 in the Black Heart. Now in here the scorpions hurt like hell, but you've got to fight her first. Stay out of the effects on the ground she puts down, so that you don't die like I nearly did. Now after each fight with her, scorpions will come in, and these scorpions hurt like hell. Now she throws out these balls, they'll stay here for the entire fight, so they can hurt. She's pretty much all into her ground effects in this, but she will slam you if you're within melee range. And she's down. Once she's down, the arena will collapse and sort of flush you out here. Talk to Waylon Roth for some of the best voice lines in the game. Once you talk to him, talk to Lily Roth, and she will take you into Act 10 by sailing to Oriath. And that's it, we are now in Act 10. Now once you get into Act 10, you want to have around 2,400 to 2,800 hit points. I'm slightly under that with 2,386. If you have found this guide useful, then please slam the like button. If you want to see other guides for Path of Exile, you can find them right there. And for my latest video, it's right there. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.